Okay, so my name is Courtney Lang. I'm a pharmacist here at VA Palo Alto. I work in the intensive care unit, and I'm a veteran as well, and been a ham for about uh, maybe 4 or 5 years now, not too long. I primarily, joined uh, ham radio for the emergency preparedness part. I'm not much of a hobbyist, but anyway, welcome everyone. Thanks for attending, and Brad, thank you for organizing the club. The objectives for today are to highlight the types of emergencies and threats we face and their potential impacts. And I want to introduce you to what I consider to be a very basic emergency preparedness kit, by highlighting the components of the kit that I've assembled for myself and, for my specific situation and role. And finally, the most important objective is to kickstart your own thinking about preparedness and how you can best serve yourself and others during emergencies. I do not intend to survey the, entire landscape of preparedness and present a plan for surviving and rebuilding society after a zombie apocalypse. Uh, we face lots of threats and frequently have disasters and emergencies that can cause serious disruptions and harm throughout the country and the world. Wildfires are a thing across the West annually, and we just had a big one in Texas this year. And then, of course, there was the Maui fire in 2023. Uh, Home fires affect 350,000 people, or not people, but homes annually. Depending on where you live, your earthquakes may be a threat. We had Loma Prieta here in California, 1989. Tsunamis and floods are also a threat for California and Oregon, Washington coast, and they caused the Fukushima nuclear power plant disaster in Japan, the Boxing Day tsunami in 2004, and then, of course, we had a lot of flooding in Houston in 2019. As far as severe weather, too many examples to list. Landslides sometimes follow fires in California because the uh, burn up all the vegetation in the hills, gets wet and slides down. Volcanic activity, Iceland's got a lot of stuff going on right now. Um, Cyber attacks, anyone remember the worldwide WannaCry ransomware attack of 2017? And then space weather, that's always a ham favorite. I think most hams can cite the events surrounding the Carrington event, 1859. And now that we've kind of reached the peak of the solar cycle or reaching it, you see a lot of popular press articles about, space weather. And of course, terrorism and war. So there's lots of things that can happen. And I'm obviously being silly by, mentioning zombies earlier and, again on this slide, but there are many impacts of emergencies and threats that are both serious and common, including breakdowns in communication and power. And as hams, we're well positioned to and skilled to assist in communication breakdowns. And there are too many examples to list of hams making valuable and life-saving contributions to their communities. Some of the more high profile events where hams have contributed are in the aftermath of 9/11, in the Boston Marathon bombing, Hurricane Katrina. However, there are an untold number of small scale local examples, like when my home areas group is activated to relay communications to rural areas of our county during severe weather events. We frequently have road closures, power outages, flooding on an annual basis. So what is an emergency kit and how can you be prepared to help yourself and others? One way is to leverage your knowledge and skills as a ham with an emergency kit tailored to your unique circumstances. Uh, put simply, an emergency kit is a pre-staged collection of equipment and gear to keep you alive and allow you to function during a crisis. It should contain what you need, and it should be where you need it, when you need it. When I speak of an emergency kit, I consider all four of these components to be part of a basic emergency kit. Your in-pocket carry, go bag or get home bag, vehicle equipment, and a radio. You'll notice that only one of the four components has anything to do with radios, and that is because we can't begin to help others if we can't first help ourselves. So the first three components are what it takes to be self-sustainable for a couple days. Now, before I go any deeper into the details of the kit components, I know some of you in the audience who are already on your own preparedness journeys are going to feel this is too basic. You're going to have a lot of great ideas about how to make this better, more complete, more modular for responding to a larger range of emergencies. And I agree with you. We can, and I have taken preparedness a lot further than what is being presented today. For others of you, the idea of compiling even this basic kit may feel overwhelming. Going back to my objectives, a major goal of this presentation is simply to serve as a thought experiment, to get you thinking about your own situation for you as an individual, for your family, and for your community. With that being said, I consider a basic emergency kit to have four main components, or perhaps subkits if you want to call it. They are your in-pocket carry, which is what you always keep on your person, your go bag or get home bag, your vehicle equipment, and your radio. In-pocket carry or everyday carry, as some refer to it, is a small collection of items. I'm sure many of you already carry these things without specifically referring to it as in-pocket carry. The one exception may be the emergency contacts. Uh, I don't carry a book around with me, but I did put a transparent case on my mobile phone, and inside that transparent case, I taped an index card with the important contacts in there that anyone can see without having to power on my phone or for my phone to have remaining battery life. But there are a couple other things, and I bet most of you already carry these. The next big component or sub-kit of a basic emergency kit is your go bag or get home bag. For me, this is a large 90-liter backpack that I keep in my vehicle, but I can easily wear it for walking if my vehicle were disabled. You can see the list of suggested items to include on this slide, but it boils down to things you need to comfortably survive for a couple days: food, water, shelter, heat, and power. Um, this is one of my three personal go bags. I keep one in each of the three vehicles my wife and I own, and they're all essentially identical. The first thing I have in there is some layered clothing, and you see four stacks there. That's because, well, five actually, two for me, one for my wife, and one for each of my daughters. I have to upgrade those sizes about every 6 months because they're growing pretty fast. I have some bivy shelters, and then some basic tools. I have a shovel, a folding saw, some knives, and a little hatchet. Then I have a solar charger, headlamps, and some extra batteries. I keep some freeze-dried meals in there. I just like these Mountain House ones. Not This is not a promotion for Mountain House, but they're like 30-year shelf life. I can put them in there and forget it. I have a personal hygiene kit and first aid kit for all of us. If you take medications, you might consider storing a few meds in there if you have some meds. I have a tarp, bank line, zip ties. Then I have a fire kit, which is just a couple lighters and some accelerants, and a cook kit, which is a stainless steel cup, isobutane, fuel canister, and a little stove that screws on top. And of course, water, probably one of the most important. Carry some ready to drink bottled water. And then of course, I have a Sawyer filtration system so I can filter water to drink cleanly as long as I can find a source, a creek or whatever. And I carry a weapon, just a little survival rifle and pepper spray. Some people, it's personal choice. Maybe you want to throw some bear spray or something in there if you're not comfortable with having a firearm. And then that was my pack over there. And then, I have one of those for each vehicle. Here inside the vehicle is, additional equipment. This is a list of items that can support you while you are out and about in your vehicle. Most of them are things that will help keep your vehicle operational from a standpoint of minor mechanical problems and keep it moving from a standpoint of minor road obstacles. There is a photograph of my vehicle supplies laid out, and there's the go bag all packed back up and back where it belongs. This is the tote that I keep all my vehicle gear in. It's just one of those cheap totes. Everything fits in there nicely except for the axe. Here is a sleeping bag that stays in there all the time. Uh, these are some jumper cables and one of those lithium jump packs so that I can, deal with a dead battery or someone else's dead battery. I also have a fix-a-flat to repair a tire and also a plug kit so I can plug a tire and a DC compressor for reinflating them. I have some tire chains because some occasionally I'm in the mountains where there is snow. I have toe strap and gloves and have some basic tools. I'm not much of a mechanic, but I can do a little bit more than user level maintenance. So I carry some tools with me, maybe be able to fix something minor. And a couple other miscellaneous survival stuff, toilet paper, number one. And then I have another saw, a larger one than's in my pack, and have an axe, a shovel, and an extra jack besides the one that's included with the vehicle. So these are things that just keep, remove obstructions and keep the car going, hopefully as long as possible. Okay, finally, we get to the part you all thought you were here for, the radio kit. As important as the radio kit is in emergencies, it's still higher up in Maslow's hierarchy of needs than food, water, and shelter. It's just not as important, but you have to be able to support yourself first before you can begin to help others with communications. Nonetheless, the radio kit is what I call a force multiplier because it leverages your skills and abilities to both help yourself and others. A few simple preparations you need to make most use of your kit. One is pre-programming your radio. My kit includes the items listed here, but as in previous slides, I think a picture is better than reading a slide. So this is my radio kit that I keep up in the front of the car. Um, I have, because I have three of these kits in all the vehicles, I just have some of these cheap Baofeng radios that I would only use in emergencies, but this is a little 2 meter, 70 centimeter transceiver that I can talk with all the repeaters in my stomping grounds, and I carry an extra battery. Of course, radios need antennas, so I have a mag mount that usually stays on the top of the car at all times. Uh, took it out for this picture. And then of course I keep a whip in there in case I need to be mobile and leave the vehicle for any reason. Uh, these are important items. I keep 15 feet of coax with BNC connectors on both ends. And then I have a lot of different adapters. There's a SMA to SO239 patch cable. There's some PL259 barrel adapters, some SO239 barrel adapters, and then various male to female and PL259, SO239 adapters there. And this basically will allow me to connect my radio to any antenna drop almost anywhere. Uh, I have a few other wires and connectors to tap into DC power if I can find it anywhere besides what I'm carrying. And then I keep a power bank. That's like 2000 milliamp hour power bank with a couple chargers to keep my phone and my radio going for as long as possible. Couple little tools, wire tool and electrical tape. And then this one's an important one that took me some time to put together, but it was worth it when I finally did it. I created just a little book, and I keep all my radio manual stuff in there, just the parts that I need to remember how to use a Baofeng. And I keep the frequencies for my local repeaters and call signs for all the people around that may be helpful or useful, and of course those folks that are out in the rural areas without mobile phone service. It's all in a Ziploc bag in there. And then finally, my physical maps. This is not part of my radio kit, but it happens to be co-located with my radio kit. I forgot to take it out when I took a picture of my vehicle stuff. So I always keep physical maps around just in case my phone's not working or whatever. I just like to have some physical maps stored in the car. And that, I believe, is about it. I didn't want to take up too much of your time. Uh, any questions for me? And try to turn my camera back on. I've also put in a few sources. Again, these are very basic resources. The first two, ready.gov and CDC hazards, all hazards preparedness guide, or just general preparedness. And then there's a KE7HLR has an excellent 20 something page, you know, kit recipe essentially for all types of situations that you may be interested in.